Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. We're in the studio today. We got Cara Jacob of IMSA, the Alive Teen Advisory Board, and many other programs that we'll be getting into today. How you feeling today?
I'm good. How are you, Gabriel?
I'm doing well. How you feeling, Brett?
I'm doing great.
Doing good? We saw the White Sox merch today, so we were talking about that a little bit. They're unfortunately not doing too well. Do you watch the White Sox or?
Nope, not into baseball.
Oh yeah, no. I stopped following them after they won the World Series, which was back in 2005.
You stopped following them after they won the World Series?
Exactly, because they haven't won the World Series since.
Yes, yeah, that's
and
true.
I was born in 04, so I literally wasn't paying attention to them at all. And still don't. So tell us about the programs you're with. We understand you're student at IMSA. What's that experience like?
Well, at IMSA, it's a great experience. It's a residential program, and you really make a lot of friends because you live with them, right? I have a roommate for the first time in my life because I'm an only child, so never had that experience of living with anyone else. So it is an experience. It's something that you have to get used to, but it's amazing. You make amazing lifelong friends, definitely, for sure.
That's great. It seems like, a great school with a lot of resources for students. I'm a person, I have a lot of friends from IMSA, and I think the idea of having roommates in high school is really, really interesting. Is that something is this your first year at IMSA, or you?
This is my second year.
Okay, second year.
Yeah, so I was there sophomore year, and now currently in junior year, and I'll be there next year. But yeah.
That's great. Have you had like a favorite roommate, or you don't have to say?
Well, I've had the same roommate since sophomore year, and things are going well. I know a lot of roommates do tend to fight, but we have not had any yet, other than leaving like the bathroom door open, but I don't count that.
Yep. Yeah. That's good. I know there's for sure a lot of different things you learn. Like with your roommates, you're like, hold up. We're like, what? Like, well, I mean, it's life. Like sometimes you gotta work with people. You're like, hey, you left the toothpaste tube out there, like open.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's something to adjust to because going from living by myself in my own room, I mean, at home, but going to living with another person, it's just getting to know like the other person and how they live. It's an experience for sure, definitely.
Yeah, and how's that helped you with engaging with like the student population and like meeting new people? Has that been helpful there?
Definitely. Yeah, what we have is we have residential halls. So in those residential halls we have specific wings. So after a point, you make a good relationship with your wing, and we have a lot of events so you can get to know and bond with the people in your hall, with your wing, and even other halls for that matter. So IMSA is a really conducive environment for building friendships, building relationships, and it's amazing.
That's great. It seems like a great school. And now with the extracurriculars, tell us a little bit about what IMSA offers and which ones you participate in specifically.
Sure. Well, IMSA offers, I think, 100+ clubs, and it's really amazing because they give you a lot of leadership opportunities to be in those clubs and be maybe a president or secretary or something like that. And yeah, definitely. I in particular am a part of SCAN, or Save the Children Action Network, and it's a national organization. And I'm happy to say will be president of the club next year.
Oh, that's
and
exciting.
yeah, no, I'm also part of GLI, or Girls Learn International, and I will also be president for that next year. And that's something really amazing, educating girls all over. We had a pen pal program recently where we were talking to students in Alabama about women's issues such as workplace equity, everything like that. Yeah. And also, yes, something else is I'm a part of Spark,
Okay.
which is kind of like a mental health club on for IMSA in particular, and it's doing great. We've had a lot of different programs that have gotten a lot of traction. Yeah.
No, that's really great to hear. So with a lot of these programs, what's the engagement like at IMSA? Is it you find people are using a lot of them, taking advantage of these? What's your experience been with that?
Right, especially because we're a residential school. A lot of people do come to your after-school programs, and I know that at a regular school, like most people go home after a point of time, and if there are events after school, they don't really go to those. But because it's IMSA, because we're on the same campus every day, all day, a lot of people show up to your events, and they really do love to participate in the events that you have. And I've seen so much more people show up to events than at my regular school or other school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the school you went to for your freshman year,
Yes.
which was that?
I was at Mattia.
Okay,
yes.
Mattia. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some differences you notice besides the low attendance to clubs? I mean, the only club I went to was they had this really good culinary club.
Oh.
So right after school, you get your after school snack and you get to make it. So
Oh, very cool. No, actually, I was remote freshman year.
okay.
So I guess not particularly the best gauge of like attendance of events, but definitely there are a lot more people who show up to events at IMSA than I had seen online. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that would make sense though with all
Right,
this the
yeah.
school and I mean the fact that people live there because I mean you can't go anywhere for viewers who are just tuning in. This is we're with Cara Jacob and she goes to IMSA, which is one of the only private public school or boarding schools for students in I think in Aurora.
Yeah.
So that's something really that I think is really unique and kind of sets the school apart. Amongst the many programs you do, what's been like one of your favorite events you've helped lead?
Definitely one of our Spark events, which is a mental health club. We held Mental Health Week, and it was really amazing because we got alumni to come and speak in an assembly format, and it was really amazing because we had a lot of turnout. And also we had playing with puppies one day, which was really great, and a lot of people showed up, and it was so much fun. Yeah, definitely Mental Health Week was my favorite event of the year.
I think that's really great. And this was held at IMSA. What were
Yes.
the numbers like? Do you have? You say you had 50.
For the assembly where the alumni came to speak, it was every student because it was a
Wow.
mandatory assembly.
Wow.
But we got a lot of great response from that because they really enjoyed it. Our speaker was very fun, I have to say. And yeah, for our other events, 50 above. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's some really good numbers there as far as attendance goes and for planning events. What's like? Do you have like a success story from one of these organizations where you met someone and at the start of their journey, right at the start of their leadership journey, and then you've been able to see them like flourish a little bit and kind of blossom out?
Definitely. I would say like there are some people who are on my board for SCAN and for GLI that were very quiet, I have to say. For the beginning of the year, I don't think I heard them talk maybe even once. But by the end of that year, I think IMSA is just so amazing for that because you start to build those relationships, those personal skills, communication skills. And I really saw them start to come out with a lot more event ideas, talking more, bonding with the board. So yeah.
That's been really great. That's something I've noticed. Like we're both in leadership for those tuning in. We're both very, very interested in leadership here, and we've been doing it for years. But as people who just start getting into that, it seems like they have an adjustment period where they start developing their confidence and getting into that. What are some cases where you just started leadership? What was that process like for you?
Definitely. I actually started my leadership journey on the youth court for Aurora, and I have to say I was really, really, really quiet. I've been on there for 4 years, and some people didn't even know that I was on there for that first year that I was a part of the program. And it was really great because I used to see like so many people being so talkative, so confident, and I was just like, okay, that's what I want to be like. So over time, I really have become that way, and yeah, really excited about that. Yeah.
No, I think that's great. I do remember when you first started that, because I was also part of the youth court, and I think we joined the same year actually.
I'm not sure. Actually.
Or you might have joined before me, because I've been with them actually since my freshman year.
Oh.
So I was
Yes.
Yeah, that was way back in the day.
Right.
That was before Good Morning Aurora actually. That was started 3 years ago, and we're actually celebrating our anniversary party May 13th.
Oh, very cool.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So that's something really great. But I did that 4 years ago. It's crazy.
Me
but
too.
I
started 4 years ago.
I do remember getting to know you. I think it was my second year.
Yes.
Because you're right. It was a little. I don't think we saw a lot of you, or maybe we didn't talk. I don't know.
Yeah. No. It
was a big program back then.
Relatively quiet. Actually, another thing that really contributed to that was I started martial arts, which really gave me that confidence too. And I had a very big problem. I was really shy, and I wasn't very talkative for a very long time, for a good first 12, 13 years of my life, right? Yeah. And it really built my confidence. And then being in those leadership programs, seeing how people interact with each other has just been so amazing and confidence building.
Yeah, no, and that's great. That's something where I feel like the sports, going into sports or going into something that gets you out of your comfort zone, right? Like, if, you're an introvert, extrovert, whatever, like gets you out of your comfort zone and puts you into a more public space where your opinion is valued, is needed. And I think that's something that not a lot of people talk about, I think, in just, in leadership or even before leadership, where people are like discussing like how to make friends or how to do that. Like, and something where they learn that. So as for, the many years you've done martial arts and that, how's that helped with building your confidence and helping you feel like your voice is needed and your opinion is important to speak up and speak out?
Right. Actually, I mean, I think martial arts it actually strengthened me because I used to be like not that great at it, and I used to be pretty on the weaker side. And definitely with that gain in strength, that shouting that goes into martial arts, I definitely would say that built my confidence. I think that one of the big things about martial arts was getting into an environment where you interact with people still, and you push yourself, right? It's that endurance, pushing myself to get stronger, pushing myself to get more confident. That's really what built my confidence.
That's really great. And what types of levels are there in martial arts? Is it like karate where you have like you have a white belt, green belt, that type of thing?
I was actually in karate.
Okay.
Yes.
That's right.
I ended up getting my black belt, and then COVID hit, and then I stopped karate. Something that I actually want to get back into if I can, but busy junior year, so we'll see.
Yes. For those of our listeners, Cara has been doing a lot of work and is president of three clubs?
2 clubs, yes.
2 clubs for the incoming year, but we also, I believe you'll be the incoming president for the Aurora Teen Advisory Board for the Alive Center.
Yes, that is true.
So tell us about your involvement with Alive Center and how you got started. How do you hear it? Take us to the day, like the week, the month before you started with the Alive. What had been your experience?
Yes. So actually, I got to know about the Alive Center through another program that I was in, the Youth Corps program, and I think it was Casey. She came
Casey
in.
Chitwood?
Yes, yeah. She came in and she was talking about the Alive Center, and I was like, oh my God, this is such an amazing program. And at the time, actually, I came to the Alive Center to have a program to talk about my program, which was Building a Healthier Tomorrow, and something that I'm still currently working on. Where really I was just educating students about healthy living through the gut microbiome. And yeah, doing a program there was so amazing. I got to know a lot more about the Alive Center and the environment and just how amazing the program is, right? And I got involved in the Alive Center shortly after. And after that, I've been part of helping with the talent show, the Alive Aurora talent show, which was really amazing. And actually that was the first event since I had started. And it was really great because we jumped right into a very tasking event, right? And it was just, it's amazing. But yeah, it's an amazing experience. And we are currently actually looking for teens from 8th to 11th grade to join our board.
Yeah, we are, and again, that's it's a great resource and an opportunity for teens interested in learning leadership, and just learning more about what it takes to make a great leader.
Yeah.
Because there's certainly a lot of I feel like there's a lot of learning you do on the teen advisory. What's one thing you've learned while being a part of that?
Really, honestly, it's building that connection between the kids the kids who come to the Alive Center and yourself, right? Because it's really important because we're making events for them to get to know them, right? Because if we don't know how they are as people, what they want, there's really no point for a teen advisory board, right? Because it's all for the kids who come to the Alive Center.
It is, and you have to be very people motivated, I think,
Definitely.
to be part of the space and involved in that. Tell us about the program you led. You had this really engaging slideshow and presentation that I think a lot of our teens just went away with. Their minds have been blown. Tell us about that.
Yes. So actually, it's been about a year since I started my program, Building a Healthier Tomorrow, where I'm really educating students about healthy living through the gut microbiome. And I've been going to schools and presenting there. And I've gotten a lot of great response, so that's something I'm really excited about. And I recently hit over reaching 1,000 students, so I'm really excited about that. And yeah, it's a program that I'm still working on, and I've partnered with a lot of different organizations, schools, and yeah, it's continuing to go on, and I'm super excited about it.
That's really, really great. And 1,000 students. Well, congratulations. That's a big step. I think a lot of people underestimate what it takes to get to 1,000 in anything.
Right.
Again, I mean, the first 1,000 is always the hardest because with that 1,000, you're always learning about the process for creating a successful program. Tell us about your process in developing this. Like, the month before you started doing this. So take us back a year and a month ago.
Sure.
What was your thought? You're like, I love gut health, and I'm going to do a workshop on it, and people are going to love that. What was your initial thought? Like, how did that? Was the genesis?
So what happened was actually based off my personal story. I lost my grandparents and a young cousin to cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
A while back. Yes, thank you. And that really guided my interest into cancer-related research. And one day when I was surfing, not on the beach, sadly.
Oh, I was about to say, you were surfing? What?
Surfing the internet, I came across the Human Gut Microbiome Project, and it really outlined how microbiomes affect so many different diseases. And I was really shocked because at that point, I had never heard about microbiomes before, and I'm pretty sure that not many students have actually heard about microbiomes. Gabriel, have you ever heard of a microbiome?
You know what? The first time I heard about our gut microbiome was when you walked through our doors. Then it was like, Cara Jacob, microbiome. I was like,
Exactly.
I didn't know what it was. So that's
Right.
the first.
Yes. So yeah, no, actually, microbiomes are so like impactful into not only disease progression, also how you are mentally too, because it affects both our physical and mental health. And I was really shocked that people don't know about microbiomes, even though they're so important to us. And that really guided my starting of this program, so I could educate students and just in general people about microbiomes, something that people don't really know about.
That's really great. And I remember when your presentation, you had a whole entire container full of sugar showing how much sugar is contained in a can of pop.
Yep.
So I think it's something where you were very engaging, and your presentation, you certainly have a lot of experience presenting that and sharing that with schools and with people. What's the reception been like amongst students, especially with some of the younger students you reach? Because I understand you interact with fifth graders and even
Right.
older. Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, I'll start off with going back a year. When I was doing research for my Building a Healthier Tomorrow program, I read this information and I was pretty sure, like, I really wanted to write a book at that point of time. And actually, when I started having my programs and getting responses from the students, getting questions, getting comments, I realized, like, they don't really know much about where to get information about microbiomes. And even if they do get that information, reading scientific articles for an elementary schooler or middle schooler is really hard because there's so many complex ideas, complex words. So that really guided me that really pushed me into writing the book even faster than I had planned originally. And yeah, no, definitely. Sorry, I totally lost track. What was the question again?
The question was about the reception amongst the students and how they felt.
Yeah, definitely. I've gotten a lot of response. They're like, some kids come up to me and they're like, my God, my brother drinks pop 3 times a day. I'm going to go home and tell him to stop drinking pop. Or my sister eats a lot of candy every day, and it's just like, I'm realizing after seeing how much sugar is in things and hearing my presentation, a lot of students are like really shocked actually. And it's really crazy because I'm really surprised that they don't know this information, right? After it being super, super important to us. And it just continues to inspire me because those people who come to me and are just like, I loved your presentation, I learned so much, I'm going to go home and eat healthier. Those are the people who really inspire me to continue going on. Yeah.
I think that's great. There's certainly a lot of responses that sometimes people don't know what they don't know, right? And you're finding those people and educating them, so then they're able to maybe make some lifestyle changes. Perhaps they stop drinking pop. That's something that I personally done. Obviously I've been doing it before I saw that scary amount of sugar that was in pop. But then after, I was like, okay, I gotta leave that alone. But that's something where, as a personal decision for my personal health, I did that so that I would be healthier and I would feel better. But again, I think that's something great where not a lot of people have done the research to learn about this. Do you find it difficult initially researching what your project would look like, as far as like how do you engage with a 10-year-old? Or that's
exactly. No, it was hard because reading those scientific articles and trying to condense information to be conducive for a 10-year-old or a middle schooler, it was hard. It was a hard process, and I continued to face that problem when I was writing my book too, because it's just hard to take that information and, being a 16-year-old, trying to understand everything that's in that article, it's hard. And it was, definitely hard for me to find the right information to put into that presentation, to put into the book for those students so they could actually take something back with them.
Yeah, I think that's something that, like, the struggle is real. When you have this vision and then taking that vision and making it a reality, and something that's successful. So you've been doing this for the past year.
Yeah.
What was it like when you first started presenting? Did you find it hard to like relate and kind of educate it at the start? Because I know whenever we start with something, it's always hard. Like, I remember public speaking when I first started doing it. It was so hard to relate with my audience, have their eye contact and all that kind of stuff. What was that like for you?
I never felt that way with students. I love presenting to students, and I always feel comfortable with them. So starting off the presentations, I got to see how attentive they were too. Like, sometimes I was just like, back in elementary school or middle school, when I was hearing a presentation, I would probably zone out a little, you know? And I would expect that from students, but I didn't really see that at all. I still haven't seen that. They're all very attentive, very focused into learning, and it's great. It was great.
I think that's really important to realize is a lot of the time we think what we know until we try it, and then we know that we don't know it, right?
Definitely.
So it's going out and speaking to the students, and most of the time they're very receptive, very respectful too.
Yes.
I mean, I've been in a lot of classrooms, talked with a lot of students, and a lot of them, like, surprisingly, you hear like the horror stories of like, oh, they're going to be horrible and very few are like that. Most of the time, it's a really good experience. The time is now 8:24. Curtis, if you want to take us to commercial break, I feel so weird saying take us to a commercial break. That's normally Curtis because I'm normally producing, so it's always fun. Brett, if you want to give the news.
Okay, Association for Individual Development, also known as AID, is hosting the second annual AID Summer Stroll and Roll at 9 a.m. on June 11th at Pack Farm, 4038 Caneville Road, Geneva, Illinois. All proceeds help AID provide services for individuals with developmental, behavioral, and crisis needs across Kane, Kendall, DeKalb, DuPage, Will, McHenry, and the suburban Cook County communities.
Thank you, Brett. Good morning, Norma Peterson and Tracy Duran. They're joining us in the house, so thank you so much for tuning in. So going from your microbiome project, and in looking at all of the successes you've had with that, what is the one story that stands out to you? Someone who heard your message and just connected with it.
Right. No, I think one of the most remarkable students that I've had was someone who actually knew some of the stuff in my presentation, and they were like. Oh. They were basically presenting with me after a point. Like,
it's amazing.
It was just so great because I was like, at that age, I would definitely not know the things that he knew. And it was just so amazing to see that a young student knew so much about healthy living, so much about the gut. And yeah, it was really inspiring.
I think that's really, really important thing to recognize, that a lot of the time when we're presenting or we're sharing with people, there's always that one kid who connects with that and feels the message that you're representing. I know that there's always positive change to be made and an impact. So people always think about like, what can I do for the now? But think about the future, right? I mean, I think a wise person once said, it's the wise people plant trees for a future they know they won't be there for, or something to that effect. And I think that's a lot of what you're doing in teaching students who are, some as young as 5th grade. Is that the youngest you do, or have you done?
Actually, I've done kindergarten.
Kindergarten.
Yes.
Wow. So that's 5, 6.
6,
yeah.
5, 6. Yep.
So that's a big age range. So anywhere from kindergarten, so 5 to 6, to I understand you've done high school and elementary, middle school. So that's something where yeah, I mean, this rising generation, you're teaching a whole nother generation. I mean, the kids who are,
Definitely.
I mean, I was born in '04, but I'm meeting kids who are like, 10 years old now, and they're
Yeah.
they're telling me things that they've grown up with so much more than
Right.
than when I grew up. Like
Yeah.
Tesla wasn't a thing when I was growing up. Like we just no
too,
one
yeah.
knew who Elon Musk was, Tesla.
Yeah, exactly.
But now it's like a whole entire thing. It's one of the largest by value car companies in the world.
No, I definitely agree because when I was that age, I didn't know anything. I felt like, I mean, in comparison to the kids nowadays, they know so much. And it's just crazy to see how much more they knew than we did. And I'm just like, how do you know that? Like, it just shocks me to this day.
It does, and I think that's an interesting conversation to have about the state of the future. What do you think the future looks like for youth, and how do you feel about that?
Definitely, I mean, on a more serious note, for the future, we have, specifically for cancer, we've been seeing a lot more of that early onset cancer development in children and people under 50, and especially because cancer was used to be seen as a old age disease. And I know that at the time when I was growing up, I always thought only old people get cancer, right?
Yep.
But nowadays, like every year, the percentage of early onset cancer is growing and growing. And that's because of the unhealthy eating habits that we have and this generation has. And it's just something that's really important to fix now, because you fix it early, you can have a better life, longer life. And yeah, I mean, the future, as of now, if we don't really fix what we're doing, doesn't look that great.
It doesn't look, yes. I think there's a lot of positive changes that are being made and still continue
Definitely,
to need to be made. I think, and I feel like COVID showed us a bit about that, with the environment, with diet and staying healthy and taking care of ourselves. What's something you've done, with all the programs you do, and, obviously a lot of the research you've done, what's something that you do to just take a step back and practice mindfulness?
Definitely journaling.
Okay.
That 15 minutes a day where I do spend time journaling is probably the most peaceful part of my day. And I would definitely say that it's just helped me so much to get all my thoughts out, organize myself, and especially with junior year, balancing schoolwork, extracurriculars, sports, everything. It's just that journaling for 15 minutes is the most important part of my day. Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's great, and that you mentioned that, because I know a lot of people think, oh, I have to be successful, but then I can't take care of myself. But that doesn't seem to be the case here. You're obviously doing a lot of things, involved in a lot of community programs, but you're still taking time for yourself because it's important. So pivoting a little bit, before the show, we were talking about a podcast that you do.
Yes.
And for those of our viewers out there, I mean, we're on Spotify, and I don't even know this, but tell us about what we were talking about there earlier.
Right.
This is an interesting conversation.
Yes. So I have a podcast called Microbiome, An Army Within Us, and it's really a podcast where I've been interviewing experts in the field of microbiomes who are like doing pioneering research, if not. Like, they're just so amazing, such amazing people, and really talking to them about what the microbiome is, what it does for us, and really how we can fix our microbiomes for the future. And it's just guided towards being a more global reach in a sense, because of the book that I wrote. I know that I can only reach so many people here, but globally on Spotify, everywhere. Spotify's everywhere, right?
Yep.
So I was like, I really want to set up a podcast so I can reach hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. So yeah, so it's really great, and it's continuing on, and it's actually a video podcast, which is something that I didn't know we could do on Spotify, and I learned recently about that. Yeah.
See, that's something that we were talking in the before interview. There's always a before interview and after interview on any podcast or show anyone's ever been on. And we were talking about that, and that blew my mind, actually, because when I go to Spotify, I'm normally going there for the sound, right? Like, I just want to listen to something. Maybe I'm driving to work. Maybe, I'm listening to, something a little, where I don't have to watch it, right? Where
Yeah.
I can work on something and then just listen.
Right.
But you have it's video style, and that's something they do on Spotify, which I think kind of blew my mind. That was
Yeah.
really a great thing to know. So for those of reviews out there, you can go and watch videos on Spotify.
Yep.
So tell us about your genesis for going into this podcast. How did you come up with the idea? Because I understand you've been in this space for a while.
Yes.
You've been, obviously doing it for a bit, had a bit of success teaching students, sharing that information. But you bring us to that point.
Yeah, I would actually definitely, everything that I do has gone in a succession, basically like a domino effect in a sense. Starting with my program, Building a Healthier Tomorrow, and I think that really led into me jumpstarting my work on my book, Microbiome, What's in It for Me. And after writing my book, I was like, okay, if I think logically, my book will reach people in the United States max, right? So I was really, like I mentioned before, trying to get that global sense where I could reach people all over the world, right? And with a Spotify, with a podcast, with videos, it's just the best environment to do so. And anyone can access it. And yeah, definitely.
That's really great. I think the part about access, I think, is such an important discussion amongst like information and when we're sharing information, because so many people have done research about things, but also so few people have taken the time to put that research out in an accessible format. So that's why I think podcasts, for example, our podcast here.
Yes, definitely.
Exactly. Subtle plug for Good Morning Aurora. That's why I think this podcast is so important, as well as your podcast, because with that, we're able to take the information and people with many years of experience, decades or in your case, a couple of years, and take that and bring it in a way that's actionable, that people can look at and take action on. Which I think is the whole entire point of seems to be the point for your podcast,
Yes.
is taking it from a very academic perspective, which I think is really great. Like I love reading those papers and in the academic field, but then when we're talking about taking it to everyone, such as students to adults to doctors, we can't do it like that, right?
Yeah.
Where we need to have these conversations where we take it to something that's to bite size, where everyone understands, and that's something where that's why I love watching a lot of these podcasts, like in the finance field or in these different like niche fields where I don't understand a lot of those things, but like what they're talking about, I don't know. My whole entire financial education was literally watching podcasts, but again, that's the thing where, and for example, your microbiome podcast, that's something that it seems like you have conversations about very complex topics that you certainly understand at that level, at the academic field, but then you take it to something that's biteable.
Exactly. Yep. And actually, if I were to make a podcast just by myself, I feel like it wouldn't be as effective because I'm really getting a different perspective from people who've been in the field for tens of years, like decades. And it's just an amazing experience because they're just so receptive. They are so like amazing at providing information and showing it in a way that's easy for listeners and for students.
Well, that's exactly the thing is a lot of these people, they know so much, and then you get to facilitate the transfer of information from this professional who they can talk a lot about their subject and their topic, but it can be pretty complex.
Yes.
And you're able to bring that to people like me, where microbiome, when you first walk through the door, that's when I started learning. It's not when that wasn't at all on my horizon. So it's something like that where you're able to take it from a very complex topic.
Yes.
And bring it to a lot of really great people and share. And I think especially when we're talking about the younger ages, like the kindergarten age, like that's something where obviously, the podcast, we probably don't have kindergartners tuning in, but that's something where parents can listen and they can kind of share with their kids. What's your reception been like with the podcast? Has it been a positive thing, or what's the feedback there?
Definitely, I would say it is very positive. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on it. And I mean, as it's relatively new, still working on getting those viewers, so make sure to go and watch Microbiome and Army Within Us. But yeah, no, it's been amazing. It's just an amazing experience. And I feel like everything that I've been doing, all the community service, all the leadership, it just continues to teach you every day.
It does. You know, that's the thing. When I started with Good Morning Aurora, I learned so much. Like Curtis is such a good teacher. Like, shout outs to Curtis. He is such a good mentor and teacher about, you know, a lot of things, like not just like podcasting, but, you know, we'll be like out talking before the show, and, you know, he's just sharing all this wisdom he's gained over, you know, the many years he's been working in leadership and in this field. And it's always great to see that journey from, you know, when you start to where you're at. Like, that's where I think a lot of people underestimate, like, how long it takes to get to where we get to, right? Like,
Yep.
As leaders, what's your experience been with like when you started to where you're at? Like, how's that journey been for you?
Definitely, especially when you're starting a program, people are just like, you're still young, you're a kid. Like, how can I be so sure that you know all the information that you're saying? And really, how do I know that the information that you're going to be telling the students is really important? And definitely over time, I've had a lot of struggles with being able to go get partners, be presenting at organizations. But as time goes on and as you present in more places, you build that confidence, you build that reputation. And yeah, it was definitely a hard experience at first to get schools to respond to you or organizations. But over time, it's just gotten so much better, and everything just lines up, you know? Programs, organizations just come like out of the blue, and it's perfect. Yeah.
That, you know, I was realizing that just a week ago, I got this email from a really big organization that I've always looked up to, and they emailed me out of the blue. They're like, "Hey, I see your work. I like what you do. Do you want to like help out with an event that we're doing? Be a panelist for it?" And I was like, this is a great opportunity. But it was something that if someone had asked me 4 years ago if I saw myself being asked to do things like that, I would have said like no, because at that point I was a freshman in high school. I just really just kind of started that. But it was and I started my leadership journey fairly young. I was about 13 when I got my first role as president of an organization.
Wow.
But that's something where you certainly have a learning curve, and you always are, right? Like there's always that thing where, you know, you learn something new.
Yeah.
But what's your leadership philosophy?
I don't have a philosophy,
Okay.
but I would definitely say that if you start leadership, you're getting involved in programs, you're going to learn so much that you would not learn if you weren't a leader of something or involved in things. And I think it's just an amazing opportunity to learn from a lot of different people, and even the people that you might be serving or helping. And it's just an amazing experience and something that everyone should definitely get involved with. Community service, leadership, all of those things, yeah.
I think those are great, and it's important to know that as you do things in the community and as you're involved, there's something where through the years people get to know you and trust you, and you learn about all the different types of people that can be found in any community, and especially like here in Aurora. I've learned that there's a community of leaders and people who want to create change in our community.
Definitely.
And then those are the people you want to hang out with and you want to spend time with. So that's a really great thing. And talking about making change and creating impact, tell us about your book. If you can hold it in front of the camera, show it to our viewers.
Yes. My book. So really what it is, it's a comprehensive guide into the world of microbiomes, talking about physical and mental health. And really what I outlined in the book is what a microbiome is, how it impacts different diseases, and how we can really restore our microbiomes, because I feel like that's really important, because changing the unhealthy habits, and that's really what I talk about in the book as well, and also really what's new in the field, because not a lot of people know about the new therapies, the new treatments, and there's so many cool things to learn from my book and from the world, like reading research about it. So hopefully I can inspire more students to get involved in the field of microbiomes and learn more about them.
That's really important topics. I think as students learn about them and become empowered to change their lives in a positive way.
Yep,
and be able
definitely.
to better engage with themselves and their own health. How does this knowledge help people? You mentioned their mental health. How does that help them with having better mental health, or finding strategies to cope with that?
Right. So actually, specifically, in the gut, 95% of serotonin, or your feel-good hormone, is created in there. So if your gut health is unhealthy, and if your gut microbiomes are unhealthy, your mood will be based off of your health of your microbiomes and your gut. So if you're not having you don't have good habits, you don't exercise or eat good food, it really affects your mood. And it's just so important, because mental health is a raging disease nowadays. And I know that so many people have been affected by mental health disorders. And it's just super important, because all of the stress, all of the depression is created in your gut. If you're not eating healthy, you don't have healthy habits.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed, that as you eat better and you live better, you feel better. And that's something that seems really simple to say, but it's a very complex topic as far as, like, if you're eating a lot of sugar, there's actually research that shows that you can feel worse off after eating sugar. Like there's things where you get that initial, like, kind of high from the sugar, and then you go back down. And so I think that's really important to realize. And I didn't even know 95% of your serotonin in your gut is, or 90%.
95% is created in the gut.
Created in the gut.
So if your gut health is unhealthy, I mean, it automatically affects your mood and your mental health.
That's for sure can be, directly correlated to, depression and how people are feeling. So talking about mental health, what's what's it been like as a student with the stress and lifestyle? How can this help a student who's, say, very involved in school and has a lot of things and programs they're a part of? How does this book help with that?
Right. Well, in the book, it really starts off with fixing our habits, our bad habits, starting to eat healthier, getting that exercise, taking that time to meditate also. And definitely I would suggest to students who are super stressed or very committed with things to find time to really meditate, take time for yourself to maybe journal or do some activity that you really enjoy. And I think that's definitely one thing that everyone should do, because it's just mind clearing and it's really organizational in a sense. You, from that time that you take out for yourself, you can organize your thoughts and the activities too.
That's great. What was your favorite process of, like, writing this book? And you were, you have any, like, parts where you're just like, this is my favorite chapter that I wrote?
Definitely my interviews that I have with experts. I have 3 interviews in there from doctors in the field. And I think starting off, that was the first time I had started interviewing people, and it was just such an amazing process. And they were so nice, right? Because I'm like, when I started, I was like, who's going to respond to me? Like, what doctor's going to respond to me? They're so busy. And I got so many responses, and it was just so amazing to see how doctors who are so, like, in the field, who are established, are there to talk to our generation and youth.
That's the thing that I noticed as I've reached out to a lot of people. LinkedIn. That's the secret to success. Use LinkedIn. But I would go in, I cold message people, And I was absolutely shocked at the number of random strangers that would respond to my messages and be like, hey, let me help you.
Right.
One person, they proofread a whole entire essay for me.
Wow.
But that's the thing where they want you to succeed. But a lot of people underestimate the power of community.
Definitely.
Everyone wants everyone to succeed for the most part. And for sure, there are some naysayers and people are like, no, you're not going to succeed. But then the naysayers, they're where they're at, and you're here today, and you have a book, you have a non-for-profit that we do need to talk a little bit about your non-for-profit. You recently just registered 501c3. Tell us about that. What's the name?
So Helm Foundation is a non-profit where really when I do presentations for my Building a Healthier Tomorrow program, I've been trying to distribute seeds and vegetables so they can build their own garden at home so they could get vegetables from there, because I mean, grocery shopping and the expenses of healthy food is high. So definitely that's one thing that my non-profit is there for, so I can get grants and donations to do that, to continue doing that, because for now I've been doing it out of my own pocket, but I can't really do that anymore. And also another thing that I'm really excited about that I really want to do with my non-for-profit is to create a community garden. So really a place where the community can kind of bond and get vegetables for free and just come and bond with people, right? And I think that it would be an amazing experience and an amazing opportunity for everyone to be involved in a community garden, get those free vegetables. We love free stuff, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
I know if there's like, whenever you go to like the store and there's like a free sample, we would always go there and, and try it. Even if we didn't like it, like, you know, it was like tuna fish or we'd still go try it. But that's really important topic, I think, of having that community, and obviously with the rising costs of food, this is a great resource and organization for a lot of people. Tell us, just going back to your book, I forgot to mention this. Where can people find your book?
Well, my book is on Amazon. It's in a Kindle and a paperback format, so you can get that. Currently working on getting the hardcover copy out there, but you can definitely order it from Kindle and off Amazon. So definitely check it out. It's Microbiome, What's in It for Me.
That's a great, again, a really great resource. And in looking through the book, there's a lot of really good information that you take to a very understandable level that, you know, is great for both students, young students, and even adults. And I mean, I think everyone can find that information important and helpful to them. Right. Now, bring us back to your non-for-profit. What's the, you just started this, but what do you see this program doing? What type of impact do you see?
Right. So for now, one of my biggest things is creating that community garden. I'm currently working on grants for doing so. And I mean, another thing that I was really looking into is having some culinary activities or some sessions where people can come in and learn how to make healthy food really quickly. Like, because I know people are just like, I don't want to spend so much time making food, or, and that's why people go to fast food, right? Because it's just so easy and fast to get it. And definitely that's something I'm looking into, making food easy to make, and getting that out there for the community. That's
something that I didn't learn until a little bit later, and I started meal prepping, and that was something that I didn't realize how much time I spent when I made my meals every single day, rather than one day would do all the cooking for the week. So that's where I started, like, meal prepping. I do my snacks, right? I have like, you know, my sweet potatoes. I'm a big fan of sweet potatoes. I don't know, they're
very cool.
They are some of the best things you could eat. Like potatoes, nah, I want my sweet potatoes. And especially you could like fry them up, or I mean, that's the thing is, being healthy doesn't have to taste bad. Actually, for the most part,
definitely
tastes
agree.
Really good.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there's so many ways to make different foods that you might not want to eat, but they turn out to be something that you love. Like, I know a lot of people don't like broccoli, but I'm one of those broccoli fans out there. So eat your broccoli.
Yeah, I mean, eat your broccoli and become like Cara Jacob.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. No, it for sure helps. I think having the right nutrition, and this is directly correlated to education. For people who do have good nutrition, they are able to, and obviously, getting the right amount of calories and everything, and eating healthy, they do better academically, according to a lot of research and studies. Tell us, what is one of your favorite dishes to cook?
Well, I'm not a cooker.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Not a cooker. Is that a word?
Cooker? It's a new word now. We've created a lot of words on the show. I mean, how many words have we created, Brett? We have a whole entire dictionary.
They haven't duvet pans of cans when cooties couldn't say cans of paint.
Yes.
We'll add another to that list.
Okay, so cooker is part of the new list. We have
Yes.
a GMA dictionary for those of you who are just tuning in. We do have a dictionary. It's quite entertaining.
Definitely. I mean, while I'm not a cook, I think one of my favorite dishes is probably miso soup. Yes,
okay.
it's really, really good. And also kimchi. I'm not sure if you know about it, but it's fermented vegetables, and it's just so good. And it's an amazing dish, and everyone should try it.
Great. So are those some of the dishes that you would be presenting in your presentations?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yep.
So
fermented foods and fiber-filled foods. Very important, very good for you.
I think that's an important thing to realize, is that healthy and quick go in the same sentence.
Exactly.
How have you realized that as you've been doing some of this initial research for your organization? What are some of the recipes or things you've looked at?
Really? Yeah. Actually, miso soup was one of the things. And before I had done research, that was the first time I've ever heard about miso soup. And I've heard a lot about kombucha.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you know, but it's a type of tea. Other than that, I mean, those are the two that are at the top of my head. Two really good things. You should definitely go check it out.
Well, I think that those are all like really important things to think about is with your progress and the part of the process is finding what works.
Yeah.
And that's how progress is made, is, we're always, seeing what works for us. So for me, I figured out that tuna fish sandwiches and peanut butter and honey don't work
All
if
together?
you... No.
Oh, okay.
Like it's just separate, but like they don't work if you're meal prepping and you eat tuna fish for a week, it gets pretty old. So you have to have variety. That's what I'm saying.
Definitely.
Is like I used to just have those two, and like a month I'd be eating literally it was either tuna fish or peanut butter and honey, which is something that's totally. If people are wondering if that's good, no, it's not a good idea. it's
especially not together.
No, well, I mean they were separate, obviously, but that was together. Oh, that'd be.
No.
No. But yes. So going, I feel like we've covered a lot of topics here. Tell us where people can find you and your information and all that.
Yes, I actually have a website which kind of outlines everything that I'm doing, and it's called myhealthyliving.info. So make sure to go check it out. I have a lot of resources on there too, recipes too, and you can access my podcast and my foundation through there. You can kind of see like the people that I've reached out to. I have a lot of pictures on there, and a lot of the people and organizations that I've partnered with. And also you can really go on there and book a session, which is something great too.
Oh, you have like live coaching or
right?
Okay.
Yeah. Zoom or in person.
Oh, great!
Yeah.
And is that at cost or what's
Nope,
the? Oh,
free
okay.
of cost.
Free of charge.
Yes.
Wow! And that's so people can go via Zoom and they can talk about microgut biome health
Yes,
and perhaps discuss your book.
Yeah.
Are you taking like interviews or can people reach out for that too?
I actually haven't done that, but that's a great suggestion
Yeah,
that I'll
just
definitely look into.
Something to think about there with the PR department. You're
Yep.
growing, you're expanding.
Yep.
You got to think about these things because a lot of organizations, they see things and then they're like, oh, they make the connection. Like, I need that person on,
Definitely.
I mean, this where I'll be like out in the community, me with someone, I'll be talking. I'm like, hey, we, just think about the podcasting. We're like, hey, we need to get you on Good Morning Aurora. Like that's some of the things where, or the thing about Good Morning Aurora is we're always out in the community. So you'll find Brett or Curtis or myself popping up somewhere. And we're always community minded, so you'll find us at a random event, and we'll be like, you know what, like, we'll get talking. We're like, we should do an interview. Like this would be fun. So, certainly a lot of stuff we like doing. So last question of the day.
Sure.
What is your advice to our viewers? Your last comment to them.
Definitely keep your microbiomes happy and healthy. That was one of my favorite lines from one of my podcasts, and yeah, it's just so important to keep your microbiomes healthy, right? And especially with those healthy habits. And not only does it improve your microbiome, your health overall, it also can affect you mentally and in a good way. And I think that's really important and something that nowadays it's just so hard to be mentally healthy. And yeah, definitely keeping your microbiomes healthy is my slogan of the day.
Slogan of the day, keep your microbiome healthy.
Yep.
Happy.
Healthy and happy.
Healthy and happy. So I think that's really important. And again, there's a lot of information I feel like we've discussed in this show today. We're kind of landing that plane, that was that the bike. We got to come up with some new things. What were you thinking about, Brett?
I'm just adding stuff to the lingo list.
Oh yeah, yeah. We gotta, because we have the whole entire list of things that we say on Good Morning Aurora, so that we remember it. So a cooker, we're remembering
and
that.
Keep your microbiomes happy and healthy.
Yes. So people can stay tuned for more great things from Cara, and then on Friday we have a really great interview with a returning interview with friend of the show. So stay tuned for that. And tomorrow at 8 we'll be having Buenos Dias Aurora, which is our Spanish language version of the show. So take care of yourself and each other.
Great.